Listen-only mode.
Hello and welcome to the Autodesk webcast Beyond the Basics. We're going to talk about Content Explorer today. My name is David Pothier. Been working here at Autodesk for quite a long number of years, doing many different roles. Volker will be doing most of the presentation today. Actually, I'll let him do the whole thing because he's good at that. And got a couple of co-workers here that will be helping with questions and answers as we go through. So Sean and Victoria will be helping out with questions. So please feel free to ask any questions, preferably relevant to the webcast at hand, but we'll try to handle things as we go along. So the first thing we'd like to do is just start off with a quick poll. So I'm going to go ahead and start that. And I'd just like to know if you are a first-timer for these webcasts or if you've been here in previous ones. And it looks like most people have been to one of these before. It looks like about 10% new people, and the rest are returning, so thank you very much for coming. Right. So I'll go ahead and close that poll. And we also would like to know which product you're using. If you're using AutoCAD LT, AutoCAD, one of the verticals, AutoCAD Architecture, MEP, Civil 3D, etc., or something completely different. And it's looking like about even money between AutoCAD LT and AutoCAD, about 40%, with 15% of the verticals. And somebody's out there using something else, so we'll see if we can get you to switch over here. All right, so I'll go ahead and close that one. And we thought we'd have a little bit of fun as well. So we'll get a quick trivia question for you. I'd like to see if people know what AutoCAD LT, what the LT stands for. And we've got a mixed variety of answers so far. So it's looking like 77% of you think that it stands for light, which actually is not correct. It stands for limited technology. And we have heard a couple people call it Autodesk laptop, but that was kind of new to me as we went through. Okay, and one last question. So we want to know, what you're using, or do you use Design Center or Content Explorer currently? And just go ahead and select any that you use, or if you've never heard of them. So this is a little bit of a mixture, about half using Design Center, 10% using Content Explorer, and lots of you that really have never heard of either one. So I guess we'll teach you something new today. So go ahead and close that one, and we'll go ahead and turn this back over to Volker.
All right, Dave. Hey, thanks a lot. Thanks for the intro and those polls. Boy, for all of you redrawing everything, I'm not even sure what to say there. But hey, welcome to our Build Your AutoCAD IQ Beyond the Basics webinar, featuring the Content Explorer. For those who haven't heard about it or have been using Design Center, I think you'll find this to be a very cool tool. But first of all, let's take care of some housekeeping. And for those of you returning attendees, you may be getting very bored with these slides, but I have some exciting news here. In addition to you being able to leave questions in the chat window, we will be answering questions until there are no more questions today. So this could be a very short or very long webinar, depending on your input. Obviously, somewhere along the line we have to draw the line, but that is, we just realized we've been rather callous at the end of other webinars, so we want to make that change. A kinder, gentler webinar team, so to speak. The session will also be recorded, and there will be a link available for that on our YouTube playlist. Also, in addition to in the past when we've made the slide deck available due to popular requests or extensive requests or whatever, we're also going to go ahead now and make the data set as well as some step-by-step guidelines for those data sets as they pertain to the webinar. I know this was exciting for me. You may or may not be excited. I was so excited I was up all night. Actually, I was up all night because I was thinking of all the extra work I have to do, but that's okay. I enjoy this. You can download all this stuff from our Autodesk Box account. That link will also be made available in the survey. I believe you receive that tomorrow, so but you'll get it in your email. Meanwhile, go ahead and check out our landing page. We do have some new webinars posted. This image on the right is a little outdated. It does not include the last one that I posted, which is going to be a tips and tricks part 2. We had a lot of fun with our first one a few weeks back, and we thought we'd revisit that and throw some new stuff out there showing you how to use some of the tools in AutoCAD that most people aren't aware of or really don't use because, well, they don't know about them, right? That's how it works. You can leave feedback on our feedback page or email us at autodesk.help.autodesk.com. So, also, previous webinars are available. You can download those from or view them. You don't have to download them from our YouTube channel. And finally, we do want to make you aware of some of the new topics on the Autodesk Knowledge Network. Most popular articles that are written. This time I thought I'd change that up a little bit. There are several hotfixes available. If you aren't aware of what a hotfix is, it's basically something, a fix that is made available and probably is not in the most current service pack. Okay, so a lot of times these address issues that may have come up after a service pack has been released, and or, for example, the first one there, the Autodesk licensing hotfix for the Poodle secure socket layer of vulnerability. We are addressing that on a problem on our own servers, and this may cause some interruption to online license transfers. If you are a subscriber, you may have some issues the first time you attempt to launch AutoCAD, or so there may be some issues that appear with logon. So be sure to download this hotfix and install it. I believe, Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, March 9th?
I believe so, and this is one of those things where you want to be proactive. So go ahead and download and install this now. Don't wait until you have the problem, so you don't have an interruption in using the software.
Yeah, we will be sending an email out to customers, but you guys are aware of it now. Just take care of it. Don't worry. There are also some other hotfixes available. I've listed the top 5 newest ones. So if you've had issues with any of these things, this will be the cure. So you can find additional hotfixes under the AutoCAD LT or AutoCAD section or your particular vertical. So one more item here. We pointed this out last week as well. The subscription center is retiring. This will really not affect you, except that if you decide to log into that subscription center, you will actually be redirected to this new URL, and you will see a new interface.
Volker, I want to interrupt you for 1 second. There was a question that just posted about the hotfix applying to Civil 3D and stuff like that. And this hotfix for the licensing really applies to all Autodesk products. So it's not just an AutoCAD thing.
Okay, great. Yeah, thanks for thanks for asking, and Dave, thanks for answering. That's a good point to make. Most of the applications that are core AutoCAD based could be architecture, AutoCAD architecture, MEP, Civil 3D, AutoCAD map, whatever. They all use that same hotfix. I imagine there's some for the Revit products and such out there. But I don't work on that team. I'm not too familiar with what hotfixes or service packs are available. But be sure to check out what downloads are available for your specific product on the AKN site under downloads. All right, so today we're going to talk about the Content Explorer. And you're going to find out that we have a Content Explorer and then what is called a content service. So we'll discuss those differences, show you how we can configure the Content Explorer by adding additional locations to it, searching within the Content Explorer, as well as the Autodesk Seek website. Most of you know I don't spend a lot of time on the PowerPoints. I'd just as soon talk about the stuff as we're doing it in AutoCAD. I don't try to PowerPoint people to death. So having said that, let's see how all this works. All right, most of you should be familiar with this little puppy. This is AutoCAD LT 2015. It could be AutoCAD Civil 3D. It could be AutoCAD. It doesn't matter. In AutoCAD-based applications, we've, for the longest time, had a utility called Design Center. I can bring that little guy up by doing a Control-2. And what it does, it allows me to harvest drawings for things such as the styles within those drawings, or harvest blocks for reuse, layouts, and so forth. This has been around forever in 3 days, okay? And it has great technology, but it has limitations as well. And in fact, a lot of the limitations we see in product support is when people use these over the network. You know, there could be a network disconnect of some type, and we've seen problems with that. But it's old technology. This has been around since the days of Windows for Workgroups 3.11, right? So it's been a while. Actually, it was introduced in AutoCAD LT 97, and then in AutoCAD release 2000. So still, what, 15 years, something like that? Anyway, what many of you may not be aware of is a tool under the Add-ins tab called Content Explorer. Now, if you don't see this, could be several reasons for that. One is that, and I'm right-clicking over any blank area, we could even do it under the Home tab here. We need to look for the Add-ins tab to make sure that is available. If that is available, well, then you probably didn't have to look for it. But let's say you don't have this here. Well, maybe it's been turned off. Okay, so content, all you have to do is right mouse click and enable that, and it'll show up in your tab as a panel. If that doesn't work, it could very well mean you just don't have it installed. So always a possibility. People are selective about their installs. What the Content Explorer does, it allows me to search for content. Content on a local drive or even a network drive or on the internet. And then it allows me to incorporate that content into my current drawings, or open, if it's a drawing file, open it up to work on it on my local drive. Get to that again in a moment. Let me just say that along with the ribbon, there are only two commands and one system variable, Content Explorer and Content Explorer Close. Then the system variable is Content Explorer State, and it just tells you whether it's open or closed. Here's what it looks like, though. It may not look like this as a default for you. You may only have a couple of folders here, and it may look more like this in a thumbnail view. So you would probably have the downloaded content folder and a sample folder, because it automatically will index the sample files that were installed with AutoCAD. But basically, this is showing the content of folders that I have selected on my hard drive. We'll kind of start with that. And let's actually start with just going into one of these folders. And you'll see that here it is showing me images of the files that have been indexed. What Content Explorer does, it continuously indexes these files and will update its information so that if you make a change to this file, it'll index that change. It'll allow you to search for just about any content within that drawing. This could be drawing properties like the author of the drawing, if somebody had enabled that into the drawing, a text string in the drawing. You could find a block or and these do not have to be drawing files. You may actually have other files that you are have specified to be indexed or searched for, such as PDFs, perhaps. Okay, we'll get back to that in a moment. Let's just go ahead and double-click on one of these files right now. And because of my view, which I can change down here, extra large icons, right? Maybe change that to a small icon. And right now what we have is a grouped view here by type, and we could actually change that to ascending by clicking on the menu here, or we could just choose to sort that group by name. So here it's showing me all the block definitions within the drawing that I double-clicked on. Let's go back to by type. Also note the date created option that you can sort by, date modified, or the location of the file. Because that folder, so in this case here, it's obviously a drawing, but if I had been in a folder, I could sort by different subfolders as well. Now note all the different items that it's showing me here, the line types, text styles, block definitions, and just like with Design Center, we can easily grab, drag and drop a block from that drawing into this drawing. We could also right-click and use Insert, or we can open up the drawing itself. Fingers aren't clicking right. Okay, so just like Design Center, it allows me to bring this information into my drawing, and that's pretty cool. I think the one limitation here for me, what I really like about Design Center, because it is still a cool tool, is the fact that with Design Center I can quickly create a tool palette. So that is the limitation here, but I think in a moment you're going to see that that is a limitation we could probably switch to Design Center in order to get things done with. Here, there are so many cool features here. First of all, I'm going to go and click Home. This takes me right back up to the top level of the content that is being indexed. I'm going to do a detail view here. And these are, like I said, the folders. But we also have the ability to index content on a different computer. This may be a network server. It could be, in this case, this is my other workstation. And I've pointed to that location of the folder I want to index, and it is indexing those files for me. Actually, it's done indexing here right now. And I'll show you how we can see those statistics in a moment as well. But basically what that means is that I can see all my stuff on that folder and grab from it. Now, a nice bit of functionality with this indexing is that I can search for things. So for example, I'm going to type in cabinet. And it shows me all the drawings at this point that have something in it that are cabinet. Maybe the drawing name is cabinet. Maybe it has text in that drawing that is cabinet, okay, that has the word cabinet in it. Let's just take a look at, well, we'll go with this particular drawing here. And it's showing me all the layers in that drawing right now. And this also has an XREF attached to it. And because I haven't specified the indexing of that, it's not going to let me get to that one. So we'll just go home right now. We'll take a look here at Autodesk Seek. I'll show you some cool search functionality in a moment. Autodesk Seek does not support some of this search functionality. If you're not aware of Autodesk Seek, it's basically a website with manufacturer products. And so here in this case, let's go to chairs. And on this website, depending on the manufacturer, I can choose these objects and insert them into my drawing. So this work chair, I'm just double clicking on it right now. Here's a nice little preview. Here are the different types of drawing files that are available for that chair. So here's a 2D chair. Oops, probably could have been a little more accurate there. There we go. But there's my chair. So I easily just downloaded this off of the web from the manufacturer. And of course, here we're doing some searching, but I'm going to introduce you to back to the Content Explorer itself and talk about configuring it as well as some of the search functionality. But this is Autodesk Seek. You do sign in with your Autodesk account. So whatever you use to sign into the discussion forums, any of those. Here you can search for all different file types. You can just say, hey, look, I want to find AutoCAD, all AutoCAD files, AutoCAD 2D. Let's go with all AutoCAD. And let's go doors. And we could have filtered out by manufacturer, but we can still do that here. Door frames, manufacturer, what type of, if you want to add other, like AutoCAD MEP, I'm using that instead of AutoCAD or AutoCAD architecture. We can choose to download a Revit file or a DWG file, among others. So there's quite a bit of stuff here. We don't have time to explore this site. I'm not going to. I wanted to make you familiar with it. If you're doing any kind of architectural design anyway, there's some great manufacturer content available for you on this website. I'll go ahead and close that. Let's get back to Content Explorer here. So that's Autodesk Seek. I've also, well, we pointed out the fact that we have a content being indexed on my other workstation. There's a little network icon, I suppose, that indicates that. Autodesk Seek is just the letter S, and then content service with the little home means that's on my local computer. So how do we configure all this? Well, one way is, well, first of all, obviously, we can change the view here. But another, we can go into this little wrench icon here. And this allows me to configure the different locations of my search folders. Another place, because you can't set this up on a network server, and I'll talk more about that in a moment, there's a content service item here that is installed. Well, you can choose not to install it, okay? But by default, it's part of the core installation. So you can actually manage this dialog right here from just the Start menu. So what that means, before I go on talking about the dialog itself, is I could just take my installation media, or, and this is actually the installation media right here. If I go to this folder, so in this case, AutoCAD 2015, okay, you may have Civil 3D, Map, whatever, LT, okay, it doesn't matter. If you go to the Tools, oops, not Tools, sorry. Tools, X64, and then Tools, Snap, okay, there's a component, a snap component is what they're calling it. Take this installer right here, and you can install that on your server, okay? There are two types of installs for content services in order to index your files. That's what the content service does. One is call it a private, and one is called a public. The private is what's installed on your computer. The public is the installation you would do on your server. This would allow anybody that has AutoCAD installed with the Content Explorer and service running to then use the files off of that server. But on that server, the files need to be indexed by the content service. So in the case of my network location here, since I have AutoCAD installed on that computer, I'm having it index that particular folder structure, and then from this computer, I'm able to use that indexing service on that computer to browse the files and use the content. When you create a network installation of a watched folder, okay, that folder needs to be shared on the network as well. If it isn't shared on the network, then you're not going to be able to share it through the Content Explorer. If the folder has read-only files in it, they'll still be indexed. The user can see them, but they're not going to be able to get the content from it. So, think about your permissions. Think about sharing permissions if you're going to store your content on a server and allow users to index it. Here we can add additional providers. Okay, so in order to do that, we have the Autodesk Content Service here. Okay, this allows me to specify the network location for this network server. Okay, all you have to do is give it the server name, and it'll know which folders are being indexed through the content service, and they'll be made available to the user who is accessing it. Autodesk Seek, of course. I can enable or disable these if I no longer want to have access to Autodesk Seek or to that server. I just want to use the content on my local machine. I can uncheck those. To add a watched folder, this is something, first of all, the Content Explorer was introduced in AutoCAD 2012, and there were changes made in 2013 and 14. So if you're using anything earlier than 2014, you may not have this dialog to select and browse for a folder like this. The method was a little bit different. Okay, but here I have the ability to add any folders to my, I'll use one of my webinar folders. Yeah. And here I can then make it access only for my computer or public. And again, I would have to share that folder. If it's not shared, then it's going to tell me, hey, look, sorry, pal, can't do that. You haven't shared it through Windows. You are working with Windows permissions on this. But just adding your own folders like this doesn't matter. You have, rights to your computer, obviously. But once you've added it, you click OK, and that folder is being indexed. We have controls here to edit. So in this case here, maybe we want to change it from personal to public or add a description. We can do that. We can remove that folder using this. And we can also refresh if we've made some changes to our watched folders. Here we have statistics about the indexing. Okay, so in this case here, it's telling me, hey, I've made myself aware of all the folders that you're having me watch, but I'm still indexing the content of the files within those folders. And so it tells me how many of those files are still have been indexed, how many are partially indexed, and how many have been completely indexed. It'll also tell you if there are problems, and that could be maybe an unknown file type, or maybe the drawing just can't be indexed because of corruption, or could be many different things. But this little clock icon, you'll see it on many things, including on in this interface here on any of the folders that are being indexed. It'll show you that its indexing is in progress. You also have some options here for indexing. Okay, so these are the default file types which are being indexed. So you can see there's quite a few. 3DM, personally, I don't know what that is. 3DS, okay, that's pretty common. DGN, doc, docx. So it's finding all these files. And if there's a file in there that is not being searched for, then you can always add it if you wanted to find that file. So in this case here, maybe I want to add a shape file. Okay, so maybe I'm using AutoCAD map, and when I import, see all my shape files. The basic extractor is what AutoCAD uses by default. To basic extraction just means, hey, this is what I can use within AutoCAD itself. There may be times where you need to where a custom tool may be applied to it. And that's about it. I mean, we could also easily remove it, but here's that new file type. So the thing to be aware here is if you add a file type, if that file type has already existed in the folders being watched, it's not going to update, okay? Not until you modify the contents of that file will AutoCAD or the content service update its index of that file. All right, so if it exists, maybe you want to remove it and then put it back in, or maybe you want to modify it, and then AutoCAD will index. I think that's about it in there. Let's take a look at one more item here. Oh, under filter. That's where I wanted to go. So we have some filters here. These are the things that AutoCAD will search by. And so in this case here, all the default files that we had, we saw previously. You can say, look, I really don't need you to try and index an x_t file, whatever that is. I don't use 3DM, and if one exists, I don't even want to know about it. I just want you to index my DWTs, my docs, my Word, whatever. You can uncheck or check whatever you need. Object types. So here you can say, look, I don't want you to look for this or that, but I see no reason to uncheck any of this. And for the most part, yeah, there's nothing really to change there. Other types, folder, and by date. You can also say, look, the date modified, filter out everything by date modified. Anything that's been has only been modified within the last 24 hours. That's all I want to see. Or you can give it a date range. Yeah, I think that's about it in that dialog. So let's take a look at, let's say that I want to search. There are many different ways to search in the Content Explorer, and it actually makes use of Boolean filters as well as an asterisk for a wildcard and a exclamation mark for just a single, or excuse me, a question mark for just a single character. So if I wanted to find anything with, let's say, sorry, lose my train of thought here. Let's go with cabinet, just because I can't even think of what I was going to look for. Cabinet. All right. So I don't care what it is. So I'll put an asterisk in front. If it contains the word cabinet in any shape or form, let's actually do it like this, cabin. So it could come up with cabin or cabinet, whatever. You don't have to put a trailing asterisk. AutoCAD just kind of assumes, or the Content Explorer does, I should say. So I'm going to go cabin, and so it finds a cabinet for a attribute object. Okay, so this is just an attribute on a PLC. It has found some blocks, the definitions themselves, and here are the references. So they've been inserted. It has found two different drawings that all these objects are in, and it has found some layers that begin with that have the word cabin in it. It has also found a text object. And note this option right here where it says open and zoom as I right mouse click over it. Oh, that's because we've already opened and zoomed it. I double clicked. Awkward moment. You guys are used to that, right? Let's go with auto hide. Close this here. Yeah, it didn't do that good of a job in this one. So very awkward moment. Let's see. We'll try that in a different drawing. Let's go with wall cabinet, open and zoom. So it's opened up a different drawing and it zooms right into that wall cabinet. Let's try a different search here. What if I want to say, look, I just want a drawing property. I know that I was the author of a couple of drawings within this set. Let's put this back off of auto hide. So I can actually use a type parameter here, and there are a few of these, and they'll be in the PowerPoint slide, these examples. But let's go author and Volker, and it finds two drawings here. That was a pretty quick search there out of all the files I'm having at index. And if I open up this file, I'm just going to right mouse click, and this here I don't think is going to work right here because, well, let's see, should just, yeah. It doesn't work on the drawing properties. Had my name been in the name area drawn by, so in this case VC, it would have zoomed in on that. But if this were an attribute, I think this is just, yeah, it is an attribute. Cool. I knew what I was doing even back in '97. Okay. So what I did was, there's a, for those of you who aren't aware of this, we can actually add properties to our drawings. And so here I've put in under author, Volker, so I could have, put a title in here and had it search for the title of the drawing. Let's close that. And I guess I didn't have to close it, but this was actually a search I was going to do earlier. Let's clear this. Home. Crusher. Oh yeah, right. If you have recent searches here, like I just typed in Crusher, which there was a reason I did want to do that, you can easily remove these searches from the list because it can get long. I'm not sure what the limitation is, but what I want to show you here are some samples they've put in here as well. So here they've said, look, I want an object type of style sheet PC asterisk or style sheet MON asterisk. Okay, and they didn't even have to put that asterisk back there, but basically it shows me the files that relate to that search. Another sample they have in here, and this one isn't going to work. Oh wait, wrong one. This one isn't going to work because I don't have any drawings that say note, not notes, or rev colon B. Okay, but they're showing you some examples of the type of operators you can use for your search function. Oh, that was dumb, Volker. Let's go home and go on this one here. Let's do, oops. Text. So what I've said this time is, look, I want you to find text crush. When I tell it specifically text, it's not going to look for the drawing properties. So I said ignore the drawing properties because I just want you to find the text. And it says explore that file, go to that folder, the top level folder for that file, open and find the text. But note, we can open the drawing file. We can insert the drawing into our current drawing if we needed to. We can even attach it as an XREF to our current drawing. And it just brings up the XREF manager somewhere in the background here. Yeah, come on, Content Explorer. There it is. Attach external references. So we should all probably know how to use this, but it's the XRF manager. But let's do this. Let's go open and find text. And now it tells me no results. This is what you get when you ad-lib. I think I've pointed this out several times in previous webinars.
It's my favorite part every week.
Yeah? Okay. There we go. Okay.
We had faith. We had faith in you, Volker.
Yeah, I'm not, I see what's happening. I'm having some kind of display problems on my computer here, it looks like. Let's go notice all the text styles here. So I had an awkward moment, but it cleared up. I'm taking medication for that now. So let's, oh, that's text style. Where's my text? Another awkward moment. We're all used to that. Like I said, Sean lives for these moments. I thought I had some text in one of these. Probably grabbed the wrong drawing. Annoying. Let's try this one. Yeah, never ad-lib in front of an audience. Trust me, it works. I'm a guy. Trust me.
You only have ad-lib when you want awkward moments.
Yeah, right. Okay, sorry I don't have a better example. I threw the files I was indexing together this morning, so yeah, I blew that one. But hey, this stuff, it's pretty cool. I'm going to, just to let you know, and we are running out of time, I'm going to, as in the past, make the PowerPoint available to you. For this particular webinar, we're not going to have any data set files, okay? I mean, use your own files. But the PowerPoint will have the queries that you can use, pretty much everything I talked about, plus more, as well as some links to additional resources that will help you out with the Content Explorer. Oops, I'm just not doing well today. F5. So you're going to have information such as this available for you. I need you to be aware if you're running AutoCAD 2012, and that was when this was introduced, there are some hot fixes available that you should install. I'm hoping you're all at a newer version of AutoCAD. 2015 is pretty slick, as well as 2014. But if you aren't, then make sure you install these hot fixes. I think that's about it. Coming attractions, Content Explorer, that was today. Tables next week, introduction to the CUI, some customization coming up after that. Tips and tricks, part 2. And I think that's about it.
You want to take some questions, Volker? There we go. Look at that. Just in time for the slide, huh?
Great time.
All right.
Okay.
And as Volker mentioned, we are going to switch a little bit this week. We're going to try and stay as long as we need to answer all the questions instead of shutting it down right on the hour. So if you want to stay later, we will get to each question. So let's start with, would you recommend Content Explorer, Volker, for standalone users as well, or only folks on a bigger network?
Oh, I definitely use it on a standalone. I mean, depending on your projects. I mean, if you have an idea of where everything is, but how many times have you looked for a drawing where, you know, it had something to do with potatoes, okay? and you can't remember what project it is because you're using somebody else, you're doing work for somebody else, and they use a numbering, system to name their drawings. So it'll search the drawing. So I would really recommend it. If I were still drafting, I would use it, and I'd probably still use Design Center for the some of the functionality it has. But for the most part, there's no reason not to use the Content Explorer to make yourself more productive.
All right, and I saw that Nauman posted some nice article about, there was a question about why Content Explorer won't work on NAS drives, and I saw Nauman posted some articles on that, but I didn't know if you just had any additional comments on that, Volker.
Yeah, NAS, I mean, a lot of the problems that we see network-wise with AutoCAD, with saving files, with working with those files is due to the operating system on some of these NAS drives. In fact, we do not officially support those drives. We will try and help you out, but we can't support them because most of them are, Linux-based operating systems or some other operating system that we have there's such a variety, we just can't test them all. Sean, Dave, any thoughts on that? Victoria?
Yeah, I think you mostly covered it. It's just one of those things that there just hasn't been a lot of testing with it yet. So
we try and test some,
yeah.
but there's so many variations is the problem. So we just can't support them all.
Yeah, and keep in mind, for those on the call, that unsupported doesn't necessarily mean it won't work. It just means that it hasn't been tested and been confirmed to work. So sometimes unsupported, people think, well, I can't do it. It very well may work for you. It's just not something that's been tested by Autodesk, so we can't guarantee that it will.
Yeah, it's kind of like AutoCAD Release 14. It's not supported on Windows 7, but you could probably run it, okay? And it'd probably go pretty fast, but...
Yeah. All right, so another question, Volker. Once indexed, will the object load automatically if I load a file that references it, such as a font file?
So if I understand right, once indexed, anything about that file that you have an option for. So when you right mouse click over that file, you're going to have options available depending on which version of AutoCAD or Revit or whatever that you're using. Mm-hmm. So that context menu may differ. But yeah, anything that's referenced by that file, if you open up that file, it's going to if the reference files are available, it'll load those as well. So I hope I'm understanding that correctly.
Yeah, I think that's how I understood it too. So very good. Okay, next one is, can you build the search location into the options portion of AutoCAD?
No,
Yeah.
No, because that's all handled through that content service configuration. You can't really think of this as an AutoCAD tool. It's its own standalone tool, that application that gets installed. And it actually, you configure what folders are watched through it. As I showed you earlier, if you go here to the Start menu, All Programs, Autodesk, and scroll down, I mean, there's that Content Service Configuration Editor, just as we saw it in AutoCAD. But basically, it just has loaded a plugin that adds a menu item to AutoCAD, as well as adding the commands to AutoCAD. But otherwise, it's standalone. So, aside from the interface that allows you to bring content into your file, all the watch folders are handled through this.
Mm. Okay, there was just the last one here, just a general question around webinars. Somebody asked, Jim asked, what we use the raise hand button for versus typing in questions. So I think it all depends on how folks run their webinars. For the intensive of ours, we don't really use the raise hand, so it's not something that we really incorporate. So we won't really respond to that. We use this questions list. So as Voker is presenting, there's typically 2 or 3 of us that sort of behind the scenes are watching the questions, and we try and answer what we can if we can provide the links or that sort of thing. The questions that really need more of an explanation, what we'll do is we'll wait until Voker either takes a break and asks for questions or just cover them at the end like this. So if you ever have questions and you'd like something answered, it's always best just to type in your question and we will get to them.
For webinars, I mean, I saw those raised hands. I'm going, gosh, they all have to go to the restroom? But no, just type in, feel free, type in the chat window. We're, Sean, Dave, Victoria, Naman, whoever may be assisting that day, we're going to answer as best as we can.
So there's also a follow-up question here about being the single person in the firm, and whether or not this makes sense. And I think his comment was that occasionally he can't find a file, can't remember where it was. But if you have a folder where you place all your drawings in, and you index that folder, it'll index everything underneath it. So that should help you with finding those files.
That's correct. Yeah, top down. It's going to look for everything, and as long as you know something about the file, you're going to be able to search for it. And it'll even find things like PowerPoints and PDFs, and so if you have documents related to that, you could actually search for those and right mouse click over them and open them up in the appropriate application. So anything about a project, if you know it's any content.
And we do have Kerry posted 2015, so we're either finding out the favorite version or maybe the favorite year, but either way, we appreciate that comment. Back to you, Voker.
Oh,
so
wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Caught me off guard.
Yeah. Well, that seems to be most of the questions. So I guess maybe we'll do the final poll, but we'll stick around for a little while in case anybody has additional questions that they want to ask.
Right, and don't forget next week we're going to work with tables. We're going to set the table, yes, with style. All right, that final poll.
Yeah. So I just want to know if you learned anything new today. See if we're spending our time wisely. And looks pretty good that the vast majority of you have learned something new. Not quite 100%, but pretty darn close. And I guess we'll go ahead and close that, and thanks for your input. And like I said, if you have any additional questions, go ahead and enter them, and we'll stick around for a little bit and answer those.
Yeah, and we really appreciate you guys attending, whether you learned something or not. I mean, we understand your time is valuable, so we appreciate it, and enjoy having your company. Anything else going on there, Dave, or?
Oh, looks I'm not seeing anything new, so I guess maybe we can wrap up from here.
Sounds good. We'll call it a day. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.